And we're back. How's everyone doing?
How are we getting on, guys? We are joined by a very, very big guest, Robb Kelly. How about you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Dr. Robb Kelly. I'm an addictionologist. I specialize in drug and alcohol treatment. And the reason I do is because alcohol ravished my life and my kids and my wife and everything else that I stood for. So everything I worked for until the age of about 25, I lost completely. Houses, cars, and ended up homeless. And I stayed on the streets for about 14 months. And then I clawed my way back to where I am today, which is in San Antonio, 4,500 miles away from sunny Manchester, United Kingdom, where I was homeless. So I'm quite a few miles away from the bench I used to sleep on, but life is good today.
Yeah, life is good because you put in a lot of hard work. Alcoholism is not to be taken lightly. I talked about a couple of times with different people. We've had Dr. Lisa Scott on talk about how a lot of people self-medicate with alcohol, and that's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
But you've obviously had the experience and you've gotten out of it. And I'm not sure what the exact stat is, but I don't think most people get out of it.
No, definitely. There's a short percentage of
And
not
it's a big
dying.
problem
I
here in
think it's,
Ireland.
yeah, 90% of people, chronic alcoholics die of this shit, and about 10% survive.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's go back to the start. When did you? I don't even know how to phrase it.
I heard earlier on you said you had your first drink at 9. I was watching the clip you did. Tell us about that.
I'm a musical family on stage at 9 and very nervous child. And my uncle gave me a beer, half a beer. I think it was bitter, And I drank it down in one and my whole world just changed right there and then. I go back and I ask people, like, when you was young and you took your first drink, what did you do? And I spat it out. Oh, it was horrible. Oh, it was nasty stuff. Me, when I took it, it was like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. I've got to have some more of this. And just, it would just become a weekend occurrence, Friday and Saturday night when I was playing, that I would drink this half a magic beer that I called it. And I could go on stage and I could, do what I need to do. And later on in life, my teas, I could speak to girls. And I've had one attitude, which is the addicted brain, which is the alcoholic brain that I've got. We either do something or we don't. So everything I do it to the extreme. And that's what happened throughout my life. I'm either going to do it or I'm not. There's no half measures for me. When I come over to America 14 years ago, I wanted to be known for what I do, but not only just in Texas, which is freaking huge, by the way. When I came here, I thought it was, I don't know, you could probably travel across it in about a day. You can drive for 3 days and still be in Texas. So I wanted to be known throughout the USA, and that's what I've done. It's either all or nothing for me.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, it's a better thing to be addicted to than alcohol or any other drugs. So there was a history of alcoholism in your family.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We talked before about there being with Lisa Scott, amazing doctor, talking about how there's a genetic predisposition to alcoholism.
Always. You can always trace back. So here's the deal. Alcoholism, you can trace back through your family. Drug addiction, not so much. You can't drink yourself into becoming an alcoholic. Can't do it. You're born this way. It's hereditary. It's passed down from generation to generation. Yet you can always trace it. It may skip a generation, but it's always there. Drug addiction is different. You can take enough drugs to get a habit which turns into an addiction. With alcoholism, you're done from the first mouthful because you were born this way.
Yeah. I guess alcohol has been with us a lot longer than, say, cocaine,
Yeah, definitely. I think if alcohol came out today, they would ban it immediately because it kills more people. But the figures are wrong, you see. The figures that we report, if some crazy alcoholic dies in a car crash, it doesn't go down as alcoholic, it goes down as car crash. If his liver bursts because he's been drinking too much alcohol and he's a chronic alcoholic, it goes down as liver failure, don't go down as alcoholism. So the figures that we see right now of alcoholism, you've got to quadruple them at least to find out the real true number. Yeah. So we're talking about it kills more people than heart attacks, cancer, and renal failure put together.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of things. But you deal on the front line with this. You help a lot of people.
I do. I always say I live out loud so people can recover in peace and quietly. I'm not anonymous. I'm in your face, whether I'm working or whether I'm in the public eye. I do what I do aggressively. I do it loudly because, you know, I'm sick of watching people die. Sugarcoating this shit kills people, you know? It's like, oh, don't worry. Yeah, worry, because you're going to fucking die if you don't do something about it. You know, I was dying of untreated alcoholism. I tried to commit suicide 6 times, and on 2 occasions I succeeded. But they brought me back to life. It's a deadly disease, and it is a disease.
It is, yeah. What got you to that point where you tried to kill yourself? Well, multiple times, like.
Yeah, it was the homelessness. It was the fact that everybody disowned me, and the abandonment on the street. Just people used to step over me when I was on the floor begging for money, just looking down, you know, a piece of crap. That's all I was. And it was just hopeless. That's what it was. And I didn't want to live anymore. I wanted to die and put an end to it. You know, crawling underneath a piece of newspaper, trying to get warm on a bench when it's snowing around you. It doesn't get any worse than that. So I tried on 6 occasions. And like I say, on twice, I succeeded, man. It was awesome. And then they brought me back to life. And I was so pissed at them guys, the ambulance guys. I was so pissed at them. Because I didn't want to live. I just knew I'd die on the streets.
Yeah. And
you've talked before, Jared, about, I just remember the story Jared told me once of him going into a cafe and buying a homeless man something to eat with a coffee. And you had a chat with him for an hour or 2.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was good. And more people need to do that.
What?
They need to see them more as humans. This is like, because once they're homeless, people tend to not see them as humans anymore.
No, and that's why I fight against all the time is, you know, they come and go, oh, look at you, Dr. Rob, you're all famous and everything. Yeah, but you know what I used to be? I used to be homeless. That's what I used to be. You'd walk, you want an autograph now? You want a picture with me? What about us on the streets? You didn't ask me for an autograph then or pictures or my book, did you? So I'm the same person. But it's just a situation. And I stop at every homeless guy on the corner. I give him money. And most of my guys go, well, you know what they're going to do with that, don't you? And I go, good. Go and buy some more alcohol or drugs, because it was situations like that kept me alive from going into convulsions and fitting because I was going into DTs, you know, or alcoholic seizures. So the more I drank, the more I kept alive on the streets. And it's just what I do. I mean, I have a big heart for the homeless people. You know, I really do have a big heart.
Yeah. We'd be on the same boat. But I feel like that boat is sinking. Like, people don't really give a fuck, to be honest.
No, they don't. You know why, don't you? Because there's no money in recovery. There's no profit in getting people well. Over in America, the pharmaceutical companies run the world. There's no pill you can take to get you well, so fuck you. We'll keep you sick. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. That's the problem. Homelessness. Do you know I met scientists from NASA, homeless, when they were homeless as well. I met teachers, I met car mechanics, you know, I met PhDs, all sorts of guys out there that have just gone through some bad luck and life just gives up on them and they just forget about them.
Thomas, I don't know if you've seen it either, but I know a lot of tradesmen who live out of their cars.
Yep.
And that's pretty rough.
It is, you know, and it's so easy done as well. And people think, oh, it must be some really bad luck. No, most people I know live paycheck to paycheck. So if you get made redundant, especially through COVID, for no fault of your own, within 6, 7, 8 weeks, like you've got nowhere to go. The rent man wants his rent. The guy who you leased the car off wants his money, or the mortgage people, the bank people. And if you don't pay, they'll take the house back. All of a sudden now you're homeless.
That's that something like 40% of Americans are $100 surprise bill away from never being able to financially recover. I don't know what it is exactly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, definitely. You know, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, but I just never want to be in that situation again.
Yeah. Could you tell us a bit about that situation? Because it's not like your first day on the street.
Well,
or even the day before.
Yeah, the day before. Well, this was about, it all really happened when they took my kids off me, because she'd left with my kids. I got them back, and then I brought them in the lounge, sat them down, opened a drink, and that's the last thing I remember for 3 days. The police burst the door down, and they took the kids off me. And then 6 months after that, I'd lost everything. I mean, I was so quick with me. the alcoholism over years took its toll, but when it actually came, everything went real quick. And I moved into my parents, and my parents threw me out after 2 days. Went to acquaintances, friends, they threw me out. My alcoholism was rife. I was drunk 24 hours a day and doing some crazy shit. So I remember getting a bus into town, Piccadilly Gardens, Manchester, and getting off and sat on a bench going, I have nowhere to go. And he had about 10 pounds in my pocket. And I went to get some beer, and I sat on there looking around thinking, what the hell just went wrong? Because you're talking about a real decent guy with a family, loads of money in the bank, and, you know, house almost paid for. So I had it going for me, man. But, you know, I remember stabbing my wife one night because she won't let me finish alcohol. I remember doing that.
Stabbing your wife?
Stabbing her wife, yeah. 3 times I stabbed her. Well, I came downstairs and like looking for my vodka in the middle of the night, and I grabbed the bottle off the side, and I was looking for a crystal glass. So I put it back down on the counter when I turned around, and she grabbed it. She'd followed me down, and she grabbed it and said, "You think you've had enough?" So she was probably right, but I took a kitchen knife out and stabbed her. And when she hit the floor, I took my bottle off. I downed it in one. I called the ambulance, and when I heard the ambulance arriving, I jumped into a taxi, went to the airport, and disappeared to Spain for 3 months in my villa. And the only reason I come back is if she promised via an attorney, a solicitor, not to press charges. And she didn't. So I came back home, and that's when it all went wrong. She took the kids, and months after, that was it. I was on the streets. It was horrible, man. You see some sights on the streets that you don't want to see. You know, I mean, you have to fight every day for survival, or, you know, someone will snatch everything off you. They'll snatch your beer when you sleep, your clothes, your shoes. You know, but I grew up on a council estate, man. I was always a fighting guy. I mean, I fought bare knuckle on the streets to earn money. You know, I could look after myself, and it's a good job I did. Otherwise, I'd be dead, man. It's vicious out there.
I'll be honest. I have to take a moment to just take in everything you just said.
Yeah, it kind of shocks people when I tell them, you know,
think?
they look at me today and you know, like people come to me today and they go, "Hey, Dr. Robb, you don't understand because you've never been homeless." I go, "Check. We'll cross that one off." "Yeah, but you never lost your wife." "Yes, I have." "What about your kids?" "Lost them. It was only 2 years ago. My eldest got in touch with me after 25 years of not speaking to me. You know, I've paid the price. I've paid the toll. And I think looking back is one of the reasons why I went through it is I'm a spiritual guy today. I have a God in my life. And I think he took me through all that shit. So I can handle anything today. Yeah. But it's people can't believe it. You know,
I can barely believe it.
Especially in those days where there's no Facebook or anything like that, where you can't document, you know, your stuff. But it's well known that the stuff I went through was just absolutely horrendous.
So you were hiding in Spain. Just what happened in Spain? You were there for 3 months. Were you also homeless there? Or?
No, I had a villa in Spain, just outside Alicante. Okay. So we went there, and then I ended up, somehow I woke up in hotels in Alicante somewhere. And this is a funny story. And I just stayed in there, and I had an American Express, and I was whacking everything on. Just put on my card. And I spent there about a week, and I come down to do something, and they said, "We need to swipe your card if you want to continue staying, because your bill's like 20 grand. And I said, "Okay, swipe it." And he swiped it, and it was failed. Little did I know that the ex-wife, had canceled all my cards back home. So the manager come to me, and he said, "You've got like 30 minutes to sort this out. And if you don't pay it, we're going to get the police, and they're going to take you to prison." Now, I don't know about you, but I'd seen some really shit places in Spain that the prisons are not really nice. So I called my dad. I was crying. He says, "Dad, I've got no money. I've got no more cash on me. All my credit cards been canceled." So he said, "There's a ticket waiting for you at the airport." So he said, "Just get to the airport." So I had no money on me, nothing. I had literally nothing, but there's a ticket waiting for me. So I got to get to the airport. So I come out this hotel. I'm hungover. I need a drink. I got no money on me. So I have a Raymond Vial watch on, which cost about $2 grand. And I called this taxi over. I said, "Can you take me to the airport? I have no money, but I'll give you this watch." So he said, "Let me have a look at the watch." So I was showing him the watch. It's like a $2 grand watch. And he's umming and ahhing, calls his friend over. His friend's like, "Oh, yes, nice watch." He said, "Come on, I'll take you." So I jumped in the car. I swear to God, we got like 300 yards down the road. You turn left. There was the fucking airport.
Oh,
like,
my God.
I know, right? And the bastard won't give me my watch back. It was absolutely horrible. So yeah, I got back home, and then it all went wrong.
Let me just fix my camera here. Don't know what happened there. awful. But you got back. Okay, now you're back in Manchester. What happens?
I get back to Manchester. I get home to my house, and she's waiting there. And she has the 2 kids and 6 suitcases. And then she says, I'm leaving you. And I'm like, you leaving me? Nobody leaves me. You know, you can't get away with that shit. So she took the kids and the bags and everything. And I called her my attorney, my solicitor, who did a lot of business with us. I give him a lot of money. And I said, you got like 24 hours to bring my kids back, and I'll give you a 20 grand check. So he brought my kids back the next day. He'd been to court. He got papers. He collected the kids, and he brought them to the house. And I remember opening the door, and the 2 kids walked in, ages 1 and 3. And I gave him the check, and I put him in front of the TV, and I turned around and walked into the kitchen. And I thought, I'm just going to have 1 beer to celebrate having my kids back. And I remember that sound as the first beer opened. 3 days later, when the police kicked the door down, and I'd been in blackout for 3 days. The kids hadn't been fed. No nappies changed. It was absolutely horrendous. The police busted in. They booted me in the head to wake me up. And as I woke up, they grabbed the kids and they served me with unfit father papers. And they took them to the door where my ex-wife was, or wife then. Her mother was there. The child services was there. The child protection services was there. The police were there. And they took me out, and they took the kids away from me, and they took them down the path. And my eldest, who was 3, she said 3 things to me. She says, Daddy, please don't go. And then I'm crying, and she's crying, and the police are crying. It's fucking horrible. And then she says, Daddy, please get better. And then the last thing she said to me for 20 something years, as she got to the gate and opened it, she turned around one more time and she said, Daddy, please stop drinking. I couldn't do it. I went back in the kitchen. I opened another beer. 6 months later, I'm homeless. And I couldn't do it for my kids. Couldn't do it for me. Couldn't do it for my kids. Couldn't do it for my wife. And for the last 25 years, every Christmas and every birthday, I spent in my bedroom crying because of the damage that I'd done to them kids. And that's why I'm so aggressive in getting people well. And I've studied the brain for 20 odd years. I'm one of the best in the industry, period, bar none. I don't give a shit who you are. I'm better than you when it comes to the brain and alcoholism. And, you know, Gordon Ramsay's a really good friend of mine. He was the best man at the wedding. And I remember sat in his house one day and he said to me, hey, Rob, do you know I'm the best chef in the world? I said, I don't know, because you can cook real well. He went, fuck no, because I tell everybody I am. I was like, holy shit. So that's what I did over here. I told everybody I was the best addictionologist in the world, and word got round, and that's what I am today. But,
Thomas, write this down. We're the best podcasters in the world, okay? Write that down.
Yeah, that's what you got to put. That's what I say. I've a podcast just come out. It's only been going for 2 months. We're the fastest growing podcast in the world. And people go, how do you know? I'm like, how don't you know? Prove me wrong.
Remind everyone what it's called if they want to go check it out.
It's called Breaking Through Addiction. It's on Facebook Live at 8 p.m. and 70 different platforms and Phoenix Radio every Wednesday evening, Central Time, 8 o'clock, different times in different states. But this week, as in 2 days' time, Randy Grimes will be on. I don't know what time it goes out, but he's the center for the huge American football team over here called Tampa Bay.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, we got some good guests on. And,
Thomas is a big fan.
I like
really?
I like American football. I like Brady.
Yeah. Brady. I used to work for the Cowboys. I was their doctor for about 2 years. Met all the guys there. And then
wow.
Brady's doing amazing things. But yeah, we're doing some good things, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That
Well,
is very...
you know, you've helped a lot of people. So you're doing some amazing things. Like, I understand you had a rough go at it. But I don't know how people who knew you beforehand feel about you now. But I'm very proud of you already from what I've heard. Like,
wow.
that's a lot to get through.
Thank you
for
saying that.
Everyone feels the same, like, listening to this.
Yeah.
I'm assuming everyone does, you know? You came
100%.
through hell and back. And I don't know how your relationship is with your kids, but they should be so proud of you.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Well, the funny thing is,
amazing.
the eldest got into 2 years ago on Facebook, And he said, Dad, I want to see you. I don't believe all the stuff Mom's telling me. I've seen you on TV. So I flew over there and I met her for the first time in 25 years. And we hugged. And then I hugged my 9-month-old granddaughter. And it's like the world is just okay. You know, the world, everything's come round that goes round. And I mean, 3% of people come off the streets in Manchester. 97% of people die on the streets. And I was just lucky enough to get off and just aggressively attack this shit and have a great time while doing it. You know, that's the main thing as well, is you got to have fun while you're doing this stuff. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to do it.
How did you get off the streets to opening up a clinic? How did that process go?
Well, it was 2:30 in the morning. It's pouring down with rain. I'm on the back streets of Manchester, so it's cobbled. I've got no shoes on my feet because somebody stole them the night before. I dropped down to my hands and knees and I started to cry from my stomach. It was pouring down. I remember the rain hitting the back of my head, down my face, mixing with my tears as it hit the cobble roads. I'll never forget that. I just looked up to the sky and I said these words. I said, if there's a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. 30 seconds later, in the backside of Manchester, I don't know how he got me. A guy went around the corner with a little Bible in his hand. He said, hey, you okay? And I said, no, I'm dying. He was an alcoholic himself in recovery. He took me back to his house, and that's where my journey started.
That's fantastic. You must owe a huge amount of debt and credit to that man.
Yes, I you know, his name was, if I remember rightly, he was Derek. And I kept in contact with him for a small time when I moved over here. But like everything else, you lose contact. But I owe him everything for doing that.
Well, I'm not sure where Jared's gone. He's obviously left the call there, but I'm sure he'll be back in a minute anyway. His PC might have crashed. How many clinics did you say before the podcast we were having a chat? How many clinics do you have opened around the world?
We have about 4. We have one in San Antonio, one in Dallas, one in Spain, and one in Manchester. So we've got 4 at the moment, and they're just intensive outpatients. We're not an inpatient. We don't have beds. We see people only for 1 hour a day, and it's a 90-day program. And most of it's done by telehealth, which is a posh word for Zoom online. Which is cleared with what we call HIPAA in America. It's a health guideline. So all your information's kept safe and secure. So we mainly do online stuff today, but it's very successful, very successful.
And has COVID hindered any of that in any way, or have you all been able to still do what you do every day?
Well, we're kind of doing what we're doing, but we expected an explosion when COVID came out, but it was the reverse. Alcohol sales went up by 27% in Texas, and people are staying at home scared, don't know whether they've still got a job, drinking more alcohol to try and numb the pain. Like I said before, like it's $100 debt that you don't know about. It could make you homeless. So everyone's terrified right now and just waiting to see what happens. So work hasn't increased like we thought it would do, but we know there's a lot of pain out there. There's a lot of suffering going on, a lot of fear.
Especially here in Ireland, because everybody knows if we go into another, we're averaging 800, 900 cases a day now in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe like 2 weeks. We're doing terrible. We're in like level 3, which means that all the hotels and restaurants, they're all closed at the moment. So people are out of a job. They're back on the unemployment payment. Everybody knows that everyone's mental health is going to be affected at the moment, which is like their jobs are at stake. It's a horrible time to be living in at the moment.
It is. You know, can you imagine losing your job like that for no fault of your own? And over here, waiters and waitresses don't get paid. They live on their tips only.
Yes.
So, you know, you take that away and, you know, you've got, I don't know, most people I know in Manchester are bar people who wait as well, but they get paid, I don't know, £10 an hour, whatever it is. So they got a wage, but they get laid off. These get laid off. I mean, fancy going back to level 3. That's crazy. I think we're on the equivalent now of about level 2. I think 25% of the restaurants and stuff are open, and they can only fill 25% inside. So that the business is not great, but carry out and takeaway, you know, and we have several companies that do like DoorDash or, you know, they bring your food to you. That's taken off like crazy. So
Yes.
it's just that many people have adapted to COVID. But see, we're on the San Antonio's not a huge city like Dallas, but we're kind of out the city center, so we don't really see. And because we work from home, there's not been a huge difference for us, to be honest with you. We kind of do our own stuff out here. So the only thing we do is every time we go out, we have to put a mask on. So masks, I don't know what it's like in England and Ireland, but masks over here is a must. And if you don't put one on, they'll fine you $250.
No, yeah, it's the same now. It's not as strict over there because you have the choice to put a mask on outside, but you don't have to wear one as long as you social distance. But as soon as you go inside, like say me and Jared, we're both in our first year of college now. We just started, and every time we have a lecture, we have to go in and we have to wear a mask, wipe down all the equipment we use. You know, we have hand sanitize constantly, and especially over in America, people have such a hard time with the masks. You see it a lot on. It's very scary. It is very scary.
Well, one of the problems you've got over here, especially in Texas, is everybody carries a gun. That's just the way it is in Texas. You know, you don't really break in houses in Texas because you'll get shot. You know, I have 3 guns, and I come from England. But if you've got a concealed carry, which means you can carry a gun as long as you can't see it, so it's under your shirt or in your jacket, but your face has to be visual. Well, when you've got a mask on by law, it cancels that law out. So there's a lot of that shit going on. And then the other thing is, you know, it's just like, I don't know, it's just scary. You know, it's really scary when you walk out. And, you know, I was on the plane from Florida. We went out to do some business last week. And we come back and there's a guy on there and you always get one. He's like, I don't want to wear a mask. And the flight attendant came up and he's just like, it's simple as this. You either put it on or we throw you off. I'm not arguing with you. And the guy finally put it on, but it causes mayhem. It causes frustration. There's a lot of uncertainty right now. Yeah. You know, we went to the store when it first happened, and we was in the line, obviously in the queue, waiting to get served. And I was putting the stuff on the belt, you know, so the cashier could do it. And I'm stood there, and the woman, two people down, didn't think I was fast enough, and she started a big argument with me. She's like, "Hurry up, you can go faster." I'm like, "Fuck you," to start with, but yeah, we nearly got into a fight with this woman. It was crazy. It's like everyone's lost their mind. You couldn't buy any toilet paper. You couldn't buy any food. It's like people were just getting, I don't know. It's just crazy, man. Absolute crazy.
But it kind of lets you see that there was 2 kind of people. There's ones that really cared about other humans, and then there's the ones that don't. And the ones that don't, they just don't wear masks. They don't care if they pass it on to someone else. They don't care if they get it, give it to their family. It's pretty sad.
Especially the youngsters over here. But I think what we're doing as well, like you guys over there, we're slowly but surely finding out that it's getting worse and worse. And the kids that were all on spring break who couldn't give a shit have all gone back home and infected the parents and the grandparents. And that's what we're seeing, you know. So their loss of anything whatsoever of sticking to the rules is costing people's lives. That's what's happening over here.
Yeah. No, our whole world's in shambles at the moment. And I think we've gone too far. It's like, especially with the whole internet and the whole world being this big interconnectivity that we all, like, I know what's happening in America right now. You might know what's happening. You probably know what's happening in the UK. You know what's happening in Ireland. You know what's happening everywhere. It's shite to look at, to be honest. And sometimes I wonder, like, you know, can we ever go back to normal, or is there ever going to be another normal kind of thing?
You've got to really think where it come from. Is it a contagious disease or illness that was just sparked off anything? You know, there's rumors that it was created in a Chinese lab. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, and this is just my opinion, I think this is chemical warfare. I think somebody is teaching us a lesson, like, this is how quick we can kill everybody. So back off kind of thing. And everyone's scared at the top level and not releasing anything in case we all get freaked out. Because there's a lot we don't know with the government's keeping quiet. So I don't think it'll ever go back, to be honest. I think masks in public will become a normal thing because, I mean, I'm 59, so I got to be careful. My wife's got an immune system deficiency. So, you know, we always have to wear masks, but I'm going to wear it for the rest of my life out there, especially on planes, Because what makes me laugh is everyone on the airport has to keep the distance, 6 feet apart. And then you get on a plane, there's like 5 million people on the same plane, all wearing masks. It's like, I used to see Chinese people doing it, a couple of years ago, get on a plane with a mask. And I used to think it was so funny that they're scared of catching anything. But today, it really is scary.
No, yeah, it's a really terrifying world to be living in at the moment. And we've recently had a problem with like anti-mask rallies. Those things are ridiculous. There's no need for them. I mean, like, it kind of just stirs fear and among everyone else. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, You see that, you think, oh, cases are gonna go higher next 2 weeks. The cases are fucking shite here at the moment.
You don't know what to believe. You don't. Some people are saying don't wear masks. Some people are saying wear masks. We had a famous doctor over here, Dr. Drew, and he's like, this illness is just a fake illness. Nobody wear masks, it's just, and all of a sudden when it started getting really bad, he disappeared. You just don't know what to believe. Everybody's got fake news over here. It's 10 times worse than the UK because it's just so big over here. But you just don't know what to believe, man. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know the crazy thing about it, Thomas, is they reckon if you could actually see the particles of the illness, you would never leave your house. That's how bad it is out there and how quickly you can catch it.
Yeah, no, it would be terrifying. And people would just not leave their house. Christ. Yes. I know in New Zealand now, they had 2 cases of it and they were actually able to pinpoint it to an elevator button. That is how good they're doing it out there. Like, they're New Zealander it's the place to be in the world right now. Like, it's mad. Before the show, we were having a chat, and you said you were going to be on another very big podcast soon. You said you were going to be on the Joe Rogan podcast. Wow.
Yeah, I have a girl especially. She goes out there and she's out what we call our media girl and outreach girl, and she's talking to Joe Rogan, and she's talking to 3 or 4 other big name, millions of followers podcasts, because that's all she does. She's just dedicated to do that. So yeah, I'll definitely be on there and definitely be on other, because I like Joe Rogan. I think he's absolutely amazing. And he's actually moved to Texas. He's moved to Austin, which is about an hour away from where I live. So we'll probably go down there in his studio and record it there. But we're definitely getting on some big shows now. And we're getting bigger guests on our show as well. It's not been going that long because I always try to put it off. It's like, a podcast, such a pain in the ass. I don't want to tie myself to that every week. But it seems there's a need for it. So we set ourselves up, and maybe we got some big names as well coming on our show.
You're sitting there talking about Joe Rogan, Jared.
All right. Yeah, you're going to be there.
Jared, where have you been? You went running. You went to the bathroom, didn't you? I've got to go. Went out and did his shopping, Tom.
Don't mind me. Computer crashes every now and then. And obviously, having someone of the likes of you with such an interesting story as well, it was like, you know what? Now's the time.
Of course. Yeah. Of all time.
So what have I missed so far?
Oh, we were just talking about COVID in general, just kind of what's been happening all around the world, Yeah. And then we just kind of...
Joe Rogan.
Yeah. So how have things been COVID-wise where you are?
It's crazy, just like it is over there. But, it's we're out the way. San Antonio is smaller than Dallas, which is probably the same as Austin, huge cities. But we're kind of out the way over here. We work from home. So the only time we go out is to go to the store when we put a mask on, or we go out for dinner somewhere. So it's not really that bad for us, to be honest. Not us personally. I mean, it's bad for the people over here. I was talking before about, the $100 bill that you don't know you're going to get. I mean, so many people have lost their jobs. So many people. And there's a lot, stood by waiting to see if they're going to lose their jobs. So it's not good.
And this is really relevant to your profession as well, because a lot of people are turning to alcohol at these times.
27% have gone up. Alcohol sales by 27% in Texas alone. They've
considered prohibition in Ireland.
Yeah. Oh, really? No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they considered banning the sale of all alcohol in Ireland because
Holy
they realized
crap, that's
people
not gonna
were.
work.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my,
thought it was the
can you
stupidest
imagine?
thing ever.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ooh,
If I'm gonna be stuck at home, at least let me have a shubeen. But
exactly.
I don't drink in the first place. But I understand people who want to.
Yeah.
But no,
I just want to
taking that
ask you
away.
about like the age of drinking. Like in America, do you think it's too high? Do you think it's too low? Like,
Because
what's your opinion
our
around it?
drinking age is five.
But what is your drinking age?
Five.
Five.
Shut up.
You can drink with your
Five.
parents with
Are you
parental
serious?
consent at home,
It's
private
21 over
property.
here.
Five.
It is to give your parents the chance to introduce you to alcohol at their own rate. No one ever
Wow.
has alcohol at five.
No, no,
It's
just
just
not
so
happening.
like when you're 14 at
Yeah.
Christmas, your dad gives you a glass of wine.
Yeah.
When you're at the table with your family, whatever. When you have a barbecue and the whole family's over, you get to have a beer with your uncles. When
Yeah.
you're 15, 16. It's something like that. Most people don't even know about that law, but it is like the law in Ireland. Most people don't really let you drink till you're 16
Yeah.
and you know yourself.
Yeah. It's
Even at that,
21
it's
over
not
here.
like,
Everybody just drinks whenever they drink. You can tell, but I think 21's too high, especially on 18. I think 16 is the sex law, 18 is tobacco law, and 21 is the alcohol. It's just crazy. I think you can
didn't
vote
it
when you're
change
18.
tobacco?
Yeah, 16. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. I don't smoke or drink, so I don't know, but I think that's the stats.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're with you there. It's too high. It's like you deprive someone of
Ours,
something for so
ours is
long
too low.
that they go batshit crazy for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially when they go to college and stuff.
Yeah, we're in college now, but seeing as it's online, I don't think there's much drinking going on.
No, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah. You know yourself. But yeah, alcoholism going up. Why do you think that is?
I just think that more people are just turning that way because the way the world is right now, I think, and there's more exposure than ever before. Because when you trace alcoholism through your family, you can trace your dad maybe, but when it starts getting to your granddad, it's like granddad used to like a drink, which basically means he was a chronic alcoholic and he was a pisshead, but it was like, oh, he used to like a drink, So I think alcoholism has come out in the cupboard a little bit more, out in the open, and just the state of the world that it is. Everyone's drinking to forget the fear. The fear is rife around the world right now because no one knows what's happening. Fear of the unknown is one of the biggest fears that one could have. And I think that's what's happening is that nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah. Especially in the United States right now. That election, people on both sides, they're getting scared.
Well, there's a couple of rumors going around. First of all, if Trump doesn't get in, there's going to be absolute mayhem. Because secondly, he's not leaving the White House. He said he's staying there. So there could be war. There could be mayhem over here. Maybe a civil war or something, because it's like sticking Manchester United and Manchester City fans in Texas. You're either one or the other. It's the same way with Trump. You're either in or you're out. And there's so much hatred for people that follow him and so much disregard for people who don't. It's just crazy. It's scary.
But there's also so much love behind him too. Like, the standard, the Trumper, someone who absolutely agrees with everything he says. What he says is the word of the Lord kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
But that
exactly
is just on
what it
both
is.
sides.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying both times.
It's crazy because it makes me laugh. And the reason why it makes me laugh is because he's not a politician. And he's scaring the shit out of all the other politicians because he's not playing by the rules. And he's making his shit up. And instead of telling lies and covering it up, he just tells blatant lies. And people go, well, that's cool. Let's move on. And no one's questioning him apart from the ex-Trump fans. They're going, you can't do that. But politicians do that all the time. They lie through the back. Oh, we'll do this and we'll do that. They never do. They're in it for themselves. But Trump is blatant about it. He's just out in the open,
Okay, so if I were to give you the power, I don't possess this power, the power to change the drinking laws in the United States to something that you think would be more beneficial to people, how would you go about it? What would you be at?
I'd pass it at 18 for a start, without a doubt. I think what happens with everybody in a teenager, if you say you can't have something, then you're going to do it. because that's what we do. And like you said before, by the time you get to college or drinking age, you're going to go crazy anyway, because it's something that you've been deprived of for so long. So get it out. You know, people are doing it anyway. It's like marijuana, and you know, you're never going to get rid of it. Just legalize it. Like I think so many states have done in America. Texas hasn't yet, but Colorado was the first to legalize cannabis. It's like now the government's earning tax off it. You know, it's not illegal to carry. It's like everyone's happy. It's crazy. It's like, stop hiding it away from the teenagers. They're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well just make it legal and stop all the paperwork and the harassment of people.
What do you think about like how much you can buy? Like, should there be a limit on how much someone should be able to get?
Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah,
They brought that up here as well.
Yeah, that might be a good idea actually. So I don't know what the limit would. I don't know what that number would be, but yeah, that would be a great idea. I mean, obviously there's times around it, but any deterrent to stop abuse would be cool. I think anyway. Yeah. There's a lot of people die at frat parties.
What about like, do you know how labels in cigarettes, they have the effects on it on the actual packet? I've talked about that now sometimes.
That's another good idea.
Thomas, can you pull up a picture of what the cigarette packs are like in Ireland?
Yeah,
they show you like people with their teeth having fallen out, people beside like their dead like father or a baby in a womb, and the effects of what would happen to it.
Damn. That's hardcore.
Shows you some horrible fucking stuff. I don't think it should be allowed, because people who smoke, they probably have, like, if you smoke, you can have kids too. And like your kids seeing like these grotesque, like they're really bad images. That's not very healthy.
No.
Remind.
Wow, I didn't know that.
No, Ireland is very anti-smoking. But I've heard people say like smoking is better than drinking. How do you feel about that?
Don't know. I've never smoked, so I don't know the stats behind that. I would imagine because one is acceptable, that it's more abused, but I don't know. I really don't know about that.
Yeah, that's fair.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a picture up now.
Do you have it?
Yeah, sorry. It's just my internet been very, very bad lately.
Oh, I'm the same. Like, I just cut off like a few minutes ago.
Sure, I'm also in the middle of like nowhere in terms of like in
civilization.
Ireland, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you guys see that, or is it still?
Nope.
Wait, no.
Can't see it.
You should be there now.
Still can't see it.
No.
No. It's basically a packet.
Oh, here we are.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh my God. No way. That is crazy.
There's worse, man.
Wow.
There's a load of ones over here now in this picture. I don't know if they're real, but like.
No, those are pretty accurate.
No, those are that yeah.
People with holes in their throats, like all kinds of horrible shit.
Wow.
Oh yeah, there's ones where like there's people with like gangrene in their fingers, because the circulation went off and they had to lose it.
Like that's on every single packing. Is smoking kills.
Yeah, that lady there, the cancer patient, that is in nearly all of them. That's the most common one right there.
That's hardcore.
Really, it is hardcore. And you think with Ireland being such a I don't know, a culture of drinking and smoking.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't be that way, but we were the complete opposite. You know, even our pubs closed very, very early in comparison to other places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then our prices in pubs as well are crazy. Like, if you're a college student, you wouldn't be going to a pub.
No.
Unless you're at the age where you're basically bought a house, you're like late 30s, early 40s, if they're on.
Yeah.
You know, that's people you see in a pub. Get away from the kids kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We still have a major problem with alcoholism in Ireland. And it is a rough go at it.
We do.
Like, everyone knows someone who's had the problem with the drink. And
that's what I say to everybody. Everybody knows somebody. And if you don't, it's probably you.
Ooh.
I know. Yeah, it probably is, you know, because I know people. Oh, I don't know anybody that drinks. No, it's you. If you don't know anybody, because everyone knows somebody who has a drug or drink problem. Everybody does. It's just the way it is these days.
And that's the bad thing about it, is that alcohol is always kind of tied in with partying with young people. Like there's such a stigma with like having a drink when you're at a party that it shouldn't be there. It's
Yeah.
mad.
Then like all the lads or gals, I never really seen with gals, but with lads, if they don't like drinking, they're off smoking. Not like weed or
Yeah.
anything, just cigarettes. Like a lad will go through like a 20 pack because he doesn't want to drink.
Yeah.
Because like standing outside the door smoking is probably more enjoyable to them than
Yeah.
having like 7 drinks and getting sick.
Yeah.
I think I'm one of my friends who hasn't gotten sick from drinking.
I haven't gotten sick from drinking.
You haven't?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, I've been there with the lads getting sick. I've been there with the girlfriend getting sick, and it just sounds awful.
Oh.
You know, drink until you get sick. You know, there's a lot to be said about binge drinking and how bad that is. Even if you don't drink all the time, drinking to the point where you get sick in one night, it's pretty fucking bad. Now, back to you. When you were homeless, you obviously eventually got out of it. What was that process like? How did you begin that?
It kind of happened for me. I had no thoughts or no plans to get off the streets. Towards the end of my homelessness, it was getting comfortable. I knew I would never get off the streets. It was just pure fluke, you know.
And how old were you?
I want to say about, I don't know, 26, maybe 20. I don't know. My memory going back doesn't piece all the years together because of the abuse and the blackouts. So I don't know the exact year or anything. But yeah, I had no designs. I tried so many times to get off and it didn't work. I would always end up back, or people would throw me out, of just wheeling and dealing on a daily basis became part of my life.
Yeah. But you did get out of it eventually.
I did get out of it, yeah, and it was my surprise. But I knew that when I got off the streets, like when that guy found me on the floor, took me back to his house, let me shave and everything, and for the first time in a year, and eat normal food, I knew that I needed to do something special with my life. That going back to a 9-to-5 job, or working at the gas board like my dad did all his life, was not an opportunity for me. It wasn't even an option for me. I knew that I was going to do something real crazy. I didn't know I'd end up in America, because I'd never even I've never even been to America. But the weird thing is, looking back, is I have a picture on my Facebook, and it's a picture when I'm like, I don't know, 17, 18. And then I was playing American football back then. And the towel, my number was 63. And that's the year my American wife was born. So there's kind of all links in there that are just funny when you come across it. That was I always meant to be was I always meant to be over here? Was it always going to happen? I don't know.
Maybe you were.
Wow.
Like, the average person doesn't go through what you've gone through.
No, it's true. Yeah.
The average person, you know, they go to school, probably they go straight to work and go to college, and then go to work, and that's kind of it.
Yep.
A few minor bumps in the road. But what you went through and then came out of, that's a big fucking deal.
Yeah, it is. You know, the more I tell my story, the more I realize. It's like when I wrote the book. The book was very
normal to you, but for the rest of us, it's just madness.
I know. In fact, people don't believe it. There's a few people that says that's impossible. You can't have done that. You can't have been homeless and end up here. It's just impossible. And I just smile at them and go, well, it's my story. What can I tell you? I'm here, and I've survived it. But you get people coming back from Vietnam who survived it. You know, that's surely no bigger deal than I've done. The hell that they saw over there was the kind of hell I lived on the streets. Every day is a day you could have got stabbed, you know, or beaten to death. And you had to keep your wits about you all the time.
That's one thing when I had that conversation with the man in Dublin. Like, I never really thought about like how dangerous it was being homeless. And even I think Dublin's like an okay place, but that was one of the first things he was talking about. Like, you know, people stealing from you, people just trying to take your stuff away. Every time you get somewhere, someone's gonna want it. Like, the worst thing he told me was, you know, on his first night he had a sleeping bag, and the second night he obviously didn't. You know, beaten up, that taken away, and that was his introduction to homelessness in Dublin.
Yeah. When I was first homeless, it wasn't bad because I could look after myself. Nobody took shit from me. But the more I didn't eat every day and just drank alcohol, I was dropping weight so quickly. because I was undernourished. So towards the end of my days, like young kids were beating me up because I didn't have the strength. I really didn't have the strength. So I had all my teeth knocked out, I had my nose broken 3 or 4 times. All my stuff was taken. You know, it was just sad, man. It was just a sad state of affairs.
But here you are.
Here I am, triumphant, powerful, marching onwards, and fuck everybody. Robb Kelly's doing what he's got to do. And life is amazing, absolutely amazing. I live in a dream house, driving my dream car with a dream wife, and everything is just so good today. It's unreal. I have a swimming pool that you die for, and a jacuzzi on top of the fountain of the swimming pool. You know, I have an outside kitchen for barbecuing. You know, we look out the room now, and it's just full of trees and land, and it's just absolutely amazing. Just amazing.
You know, we talked to a lot of people who've gone through a lot of stuff, and talking to people like you, you know, it makes me at least realize how lucky I am. It makes you want to work so much harder, because if I have all these advantages that like you didn't have, what's my excuse, you know? Yeah.
That's where normal people get complacent, is you don't realize what an amazing position you're in. You're young, you're going to college, you got your whole life. Fucking be somebody.
And I get to talk to people like you.
Never dreamt of before. Absolutely never dreamt of. Take it to the limit. You know, take it all the way. Your profession, you know, your hobby, whatever it is, take it all the way. Because the guy sat in that multi-billion-dollar company as CEO, earning $1 million a year, is no fucking better than you. You know, there's no reason why you can't do that, because he gets dressed the same way. You know, he drives in the same car as you. You know, all these things different. It's just that people are scared to dream, man. People are just making practical decisions based on fear. So, oh, I'll just get that nice 9-to-5 job on 30 grand a year. Fuck that. How many times are you young? Save that for when you're 70. Now go for it. Make all them decisions. Go for that crazy stuff. Make dreams happen because they happen. If you can visualize it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, period. Just no matter what, the brain is such an amazing organ, and we only use a partial bit of it. You need to expand your brain, you know? It's like, I go back to Manchester now, guys. And you know, the same people my age in the same old bars talking the same old shit. You know, it's like, there's a big world out there.
Yeah.
Just don't confine. I know people in Manchester have never been abroad. Like, hardly ever been out of Manchester. Might have gone to Blackpool for a vacation, but that's it, or a holiday. You know, I mean, come on. That's why there's such great opportunities now, 2020, with everyone's online. Everyone could be a millionaire. I'm a self-made millionaire. I've got $1 million in the bank. You know, from what? Homelessness? Like you say, you've got all the advantages you got. Why can't you have $1 million in the bank? Well, you can. You can. You just gotta want it bad enough.
Have you ever considered a career as a motivational speaker, sir?
I do a bit of that. I do, you know, like I always say to people, if you're feeling pissed off, give me a call. I'll change your life with a pep talk in 15 minutes. Because this is what life's all about. You know, it's about grabbing things. It's about realizing what the other people around you don't realize, that this is possible. Whatever your dream is possible. You just got to believe it, and have people around you that believe your dream. I have a very favorite saying is, don't share your dreams with people who don't share your dreams. So you get people around you that believe in you. I did. My wife believed in me when I came to America. And we set off, and I wanted to create an empire, and people laughed at me. What, a guy from Manchester in America? Do you know how big America is? You want to be on national TV? That's fucking impossible. It's near to impossible. Check. Next. You know, I've done all that shit because I believed in myself.
I love your attitude towards it. And obviously it's made results. But just back to your profession and the brain. Now, you put your brain through trauma. You beat it with an ice pick. You stomped on it, not literally, but with alcohol. You put it through the ringer. Does that still affect you to this day?
Yeah.
And how does it affect you?
Short-term memory is not good. Long-term memory, years, places. You know, how old was when you did that? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I remember bits and bobs from the past. I've blocked a lot of it out. I surround myself. I'm lucky today. I have no idea what I'm doing tomorrow. I'll get my day tonight, and she'll tell me what my day is tomorrow, because I can't remember what I did 2 days ago. And people laugh and go, yeah, right. No, that's an effect on my abuse, you know, to damaging my brain that much with alcoholism. That's just the price I have to pay. So do I sit there pissed off and really go downhill and depressed? No, I get people around me that can do that shit. You know, here's your day tomorrow, Rob. Thank you. That's all I need. You know, and I don't have to worry about yesterday or 2 weeks ago, or I don't have to worry about booking stuff in the future. I have a team around me that do that. And I just sit on the computer or face to face with people, inspiring people about life. And they keep me busy from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, man. And I just fucking love it. But you know, there's always a way around it. You know, if you want to succeed and if you want to be somebody, get people around you that want you to be somebody and want to help you be somebody. Because there's a few people around me that earn a lot of money being around me, and that's okay.
That's one thing I've experienced doing this podcast. We talk to so many successful people, and it kind of rubs off a little bit. Like we talk to these awesome people who've done these awesome things, and we're like, okay, well, I suppose anyone could do that. And then it kind of gives you a higher work ethic. Like at the start of COVID, we started this, but just before then, when we like maybe 2 months of doing nothing with COVID, like it was just a head wrecker. You can only play video games so much. Right. Like I'm young, I had nothing else to do. So starting to talk to all these people, it really does change how you think.
Because you realize a couple of things. You realize, first of all, that I'm no different to you. The only thing that's wrong with me is that my childhood was fucked up and I went through some shit. But I once got told years ago, if you're on 30 grand a year and you want to earn 40 grand a year, hang around with the guys that earn 40 grand a year. Because we're communication animals. You only got to look at the monkeys and the chimps to find out that they look at each other and they mimic each other. There's a technique called mirroring. When you in a sales technique, that if you want to sales or you want to get the guy to buy from you, you mirror everything he does. If he has a glass of wine, you have a glass of wine. If he crosses your legs, you cross your legs. And it's all this mirroring. So if you hang around with people that are telling you success stories all the time, you are going to be successful. There's no doubt about it. You just got to believe it. Chef Ramsay, again, because I tell everybody I am. And that's what I started doing. And people will believe it, especially you have the confidence and the skills to back it up. I mean, we started a podcast 2 months ago. I mean, it has about 20,000 followers now. But you know something? In 12 months' time, we'll have a syndicated show on a national network. We're getting paid millions of dollars. Why? Because I fucking said it's going to happen. End of story. You know, you only got to look at the great people. Arnold Schwarzenegger. When I was bodybuilding, Arnold Schwarzenegger came over to Manchester. And the bodybuilding world over there was NABA, National Amateur Bodybuilding Association. And we picked him up from the airport. This was before he was famous. And he told me 2 things in broken English. He said, I'm going to accomplish 2 things. I'm going to become the biggest fucking film star in the world. We're like, yeah, of course you are. And the secondly, I'm going to marry into the famous Kennedy family. And we're like, there's no way. And he did both because he believed in it. He set his mind to it and he didn't take any no off anybody.
Wow.
You know, and that's what you guys will eventually do because you're hearing people around you that are the same as you. Because we look up to these people, or I used to do, coming from a council estate. Fuck that. I am that person today. We have 2 car cleaners that come round, 2 young lads. This is so funny. Probably just like used to come around, just started going to college, just starting a business, car washing. And I used to go out and talk to him. And one day he came out and said he was doing this Porsche around the corner. And the guy said he wasn't doing a great job and everything. And I'm like, they said to me, how'd you become successful like you? And I said, well, first of all, when you go back to that fucker's house around the corner with the Porsche that complained, tell him you're the best car washers in the world. How dare he argue with you? And put it out there. And I put advertisements out for him. You want the best car washers in the world, the best car valeters? These are the guys. And then all of a sudden now they're running $1 million business. That was a year ago when we started that shit. Because I was calling people out, going, you want the best in the world? These are the best in the world, man. And they're like, really? I'm like, fuck yeah. and I used to give them pep talks in my driveway while they're cleaning my car, saying, this is it, man. This is your future. You're going to become the best in the world at this, period. And they got hyped up, man. And true enough, they became that. I brainwashed them into doing it. I brainwashed them into, when somebody calls you, don't answer the phone saying such and such a car wash. Answer it saying such and such a car wash, the best in the world. On the back of my business card, it said the best addictionologist in the world. I don't know if that's true or not. Prove me wrong. But I think it's true, you know?
Yeah.
And then I charge what I think I'm worth.
Well, obviously it's worth a lot.
You know?
You're like, okay, let's go down to the numbers. How many people have you helped?
5,600 and something.
Jesus, that's amazing.
Okay, that's a lot of people.
That
And
is,
every single one of their circumstances was different, I'm going to assume.
All different to each other, but one thing in common: they couldn't stop drinking or using drugs. So here's a story for you. So I picked this guy up from, and you probably know the guy. I picked him up from LA jail, me and my crew. And the judge said to me, Dr. Kelly, if I put him in your care and he goes missing, you're going to end up back in my courtroom. So this guy was a has-been actor who got locked up because he was taking too many drugs, caused so much shit, that they locked him up. So we picked him up, took him back to my ranch, and I worked with him for 3 months. 2.5, and I was telling him all the time, you're going to become the best. You're going to become the actor that you was before 10 times more. In actual fact, you're going to become the most famous actor in the world with one of the biggest paychecks in the world. And we got him to write a check for $20 million.
And we stuck it on my wall.
Yeah, so he's got every time he comes into the main room to start treatment with me, he has this check on the wall for $20 million that we're going to cash. And I'm brainwashing him. You're going to be it. 2 weeks before he left, a big package came at the front door. So we opened the door and his name was on it. So I took the package to him and I gave him the package and we sat there together and he's like, what is it? I said, I don't know what it is. Open it. And he opened it and he took a script out and the script was for Iron Man. And the guy was Junior. And that's a true story.
As you were saying this, I was looking it up. Yeah.
And he cashed it. He cashed that check. Because we made him into that person. The same with Eminem. Eminem's my guy, and the only reason why I'm telling you this is because they said I can tell people who are in the industry or suffer. So Marshall Mathers came to the house. We did the same with him. We did the same with Eddie Van Halen. We're the guys that do this shit. We're getting back on top and we get normal people believing that they can do anything. I mean, I used to always get people go, well, I can't be president of the United States. Well, I beg to differ right now. We have a businessman running the States. You don't have to fall to any line. I have to be this to be this. No, you can be anything you want to be as long as you believe it. Quantum physics tells us that. If you can visualize it, you can hold it. Hold it, man. And don't take no for an answer.
Jeez, I'll be getting your number after this one now. This is, holy fuck.
We need a really good motivational speech like every morning. Oh
my God, I need to play this clip every single day.
That's what I did actually with a guy in America. He was talking and he was doing like a pep talk and I played it every day on a rickety cassette just before, about 2 years before I came over here. I played it every single day and the guy inspired me every day. And you know what? One day I got up and I said, I can do that. And then even now today, when people come up after a talk, do you know when I talk anywhere, I charge $10,000 per hour to talk. Why? Because I'm fucking worth it, and people are paying it and I am worth it. But I used to listen to this guy every day and go, I want to be that guy. And he inspired me every day because I listen to him daily, man. Repetition, strengthens and confirms. It sticks in there. That if you want to be the best at whatever you do, all you got to do is put the time in. Just believe it.
That's very true.
I'll get an alarm going. It's like, Jared, in the morning, beep, beep, beep. Jared, get the fuck up. Let's go out and do this shit. Let's be the best we can be today. Let's earn at least $1,000 today. I'll go make coffee.
I can clip that and I can make that my fucking alarm.
Yeah, that's the ringtone.
Jesus. That story has me now just, mind is blown. So you obviously deal with all sorts of people, including the likes of Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Including and not limited to.
Yeah, rich or poor, famous or not famous. We'll deal with anybody and get you to the point where you want to be in life in 90 days.
In 90 days.
Jesus.
We have to finish this up, but before we go, do you have any final message to anyone?
Yeah, I mean, guys, if you're out there thinking to yourself, that sounds pretty good, what he's talking about, or I want to know more about this, just email me, get on the website, just get on any Google, wherever you are in the world, and put Dr. Robb Kelly, and I spell my name with 2 B's. So Robb Kelly, put it in, find out where I am, send me an email, and let's start talking, and eventually let's get a call going. I'll give you a pep talk for 15 minutes that'll change your fucking life, period. And that's what I specialize in. The only thing I want in life now, I don't have to work. I do this to help people. But the only thing I want in life is for people listening to this to succeed in life and realize I'm 59, guys. You know, I've not got long left, and I want to pass on to the younger generation. Stop the shit. Stop the worry. Stop worrying about what's going to happen. Start worrying about what could be, and start believing that you can be anybody in the world. I don't want you to get to the age of 60 like me and go, fuck, I should have done this. I should have done that. You know, what if, you know, I was always a musician, as you know, I told you before. I'm in a pub in Stockport, just outside Manchester. My drummer was Tony McCarroll. He was a great guy. And one day he asked me to join this band of his. And I said, no, I don't want to. They're a bit younger than me, and I'll stick what I'm doing. We had a little Irish band playing all the Irish music and everything. This guy one day packed his drums up and left me. And I says, where are you going? He said, I'm going to play with that other band. We have an audition in Scotland. And I says, Tony, if you pack your drums up now and leave, you'll never play in this town again. I said, what's the band called? And he said, we're going to call ourselves Oasis.
Yeah.
And I missed that opportunity.
Yeah.
But it's not the end of the world. You know, or maybe I wasn't meant to play in that. But these opportunities will come along. Look for them and take it no matter what you do. Just take it, man. It's going to be awesome. Believe me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Robb Kelly. If you want to find him, you can find him on his website. Where else can they find you, Rob?
Anywhere on the internet, robkelly.com. Jump on Amazon. My book's on there. Do a Google search. You'll find me on all the platforms, Dr. Robb Kelly. And if you want to listen to the podcast, just jump on any podcast you can think, iTunes, you know, Google. It makes no difference. We're on every single podcast. Look for Breaking Through Addiction with Dr. Robb Kelly. And just enjoy yourself, guys. And if you need any more information, robkelly.com. I'll send you a link to a tape that'll blow your mind free of charge.
So to everyone who's listened, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Maybe tell your grandma about the podcast and take it handy.
Good luck to you.